Chosen one, God did not see 7 equal days this week. He saw this one differently. Wednesday, the middle of the week, the crossroads day, the place where everything that is behind and everything that is ahead are held in exact balance until something tips the scale. And God tipped it toward you. Before you woke up this morning, He sealed something in your name, not as a vague promise still pending your performance, as a verdict, final, documented, already decided. In the last 48 hours, you made a choice that most people around you never noticed. It may have looked small from the outside, perhaps 5 seconds of quiet courage, perhaps a prayer you believed went unanswered, perhaps something you finally released that you had been holding long past its season. Most moments go unrecorded. That one did not. The God who witnesses everything saw it, and He decided this Wednesday would be the day your story entered a new chapter. He built a door in the middle of your hardest seasons, a door with your name already carved into it, constructed from everything you thought was only breaking you. Chosen ones are not advanced by performance systems. They are recognized by a Father who watches someone hold on when holding on seems unreasonable. He watched. He was moved. And today, He opens the door He built for you. By the time this message is finished, you will know exactly who you are becoming, starting this Wednesday, starting now. Picture this moment with me. Somewhere on a Wednesday morning, in a season that has asked everything of a person and returned what felt like very little, someone wakes up and moves through the ordinary motions of the day. Coffee, light coming through a window, the sounds of a morning that looks like every other morning. On the outside, it is a normal Wednesday, but underneath that surface, something is pressing forward, a knowing without a name, a readiness with no visible destination, a quiet certainty that something real is about to change. That person is you, and you did not arrive at this moment by accident. The God who arranged your journey arranged this morning too. The details of how you came to be here, in this specific window of time, receiving these specific words, were not assembled by chance. They were assembled by care, by the same intelligence that has been forming you through every season you did not ask for, and every silence you did not choose. That intelligence has brought you to a Wednesday threshold, and it has brought you here because you are ready. Not ready in the way the world defines readiness. Ready in the way chosen ones are always ready, which is faith intact, spirit willing, and the inner ear finally tuned to what is being said. There are things that only someone who carries the weight of a chosen one would truly understand. Things you may have stopped trying to put into words, because the words never quite reach the reality of what you have been living. You know what it is to be prepared for something you cannot fully see yet, to carry a sense of purpose in one hand and a season of waiting in the other, and to not know when the tension between them will resolve. You know what it is to pray with full faith and wake up to silence, to move forward in obedience and find the path unclear, to give your best in a season that does not seem to recognize what you are bringing. You know what it is to stand in a room full of people and feel a kind of aloneness that has nothing to do with how many people are present. The aloneness of someone who sees differently, feels more deeply, carries a weight that others around them do not perceive. You have watched people settle for lives that are comfortable and entirely insufficient for what you know you were made for. And you have felt the strange grief of not being able to settle with them. Not because you believe you are above anyone, because you cannot betray what you know is real. That grief, that weight, that restlessness, it was not God's absence, it was God's workshop. Every season that stretched beyond what seemed fair, every prayer that landed in silence, every door that closed before you fully understood where you were trying to go, none of that was punishment. None of it was abandonment. None of it was evidence that you had misread your calling or misunderstood your worth. It was formation. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness before a single morning at the border of the Promised Land. 40 years of preparation for a crossing that took one day. The longest part of his story was not the miracle, it was the making. The people observing Moses from the outside saw a man who had once walked in the corridors of power. Now tending sheep in a desert, nobody celebrated. What they could not see was that God was dismantling every identity built on borrowed authority so that something far more durable could take its place. What the world called irrelevance, God called preparation. What they called delay, God called design. The wilderness is not the destination, it is the doorway. And the doorway always ends at a morning, sometimes a Tuesday, sometimes a Thursday, sometimes a Wednesday, when the voice of God says, "Rise and cross, and enter the thing I have been holding in reserve for you." This Wednesday is that morning for you. Here is how you know you are standing at this kind of threshold. There are signs that appear in the life of a chosen one, in the season just before the crossing. You do not need to wonder whether these signs are yours. Once I name them, you will recognize them. The first sign is a restlessness that no adjustment can resolve. You have tried to address it with new habits, new environments, new people, new plans, and the restlessness remains. Not because something is wrong with you, because something is right. Something deep in you knows a change is not only coming, it is overdue. And the restlessness is not anxiety. It is the frequency of readiness looking for its moment. It will only be satisfied by a genuine beginning, which is exactly what this Wednesday carries. The second sign is a shifting in your relationships. People who once felt central are beginning to feel peripheral. Connections that once gave life are beginning to drain it. This is not betrayal. This is alignment. The God who is preparing you for something new is also preparing the landscape around you for the new. Not everyone assigned to the next chapter of your life was present in the previous one, and the releasing of what is passing is not loss. It is the creation of space for what is on its way. The third sign is a heightened sensitivity to what is genuine and what is not. Chosen ones in the season before their threshold develop an almost complete intolerance for pretense. Things that once held your attention no longer do. Surface conversations, performances of achievement, the noise of lives lived without intention. You are not judging these things, you simply cannot remain inside them. This is discernment activating. Your spirit, sharpened by the wilderness, is sorting through everything in your environment to identify what belongs in the new chapter and what does not. The fourth sign is access to an unexpected peace. In the middle of circumstances that have no rational basis for peace, you find it arriving anyway. In the quiet moments, something settles in you that has no explanation in the visible world. That is not denial. That is the peace that surpasses understanding, making its first sustained appearance. The peace that arrives in the life of a chosen one when the verdict has been sealed and the crossing is imminent. That peace is God saying, "Without words, I have not forgotten. I have been here. What I decided before you woke up this morning has already been set in motion." The fifth sign is the simplest and the most powerful. You are here, right now, on this specific Wednesday. Something in you already knew, before you arrived, that today was going to carry a weight that ordinary days do not carry. You came here with a readiness you may not have been able to name, but it brought you here, and here is exactly where you were meant to be. If these signs are landing in you, type the word Wednesday in the comments, not as a casual gesture, as a declaration that you are here, you are receiving, and you know this day carries something real. Now I want to talk about what was being built in you during the seasons that pressed hardest. Because the wilderness is not only the place where things are stripped away, it is also the place where things are constructed. Things that only grow in the conditions of sustained difficulty, met with sustained faith. In your hardest season, you were building a quality of endurance that is genuinely rare, not the kind that simply grits its teeth and waits for the storm to pass. The kind that actually deepens in faith as the season extends. That character, specifically the quality shaped by refusing to quit, is the exact thing that positions a chosen one for the threshold moment. You do not cross the Jordan on borrowed momentum. You cross it on the back of something built slowly and deliberately over years that felt most like your delay. In your season of waiting, you were also building discernment. There is something about extended time in the quiet, when all of your striving has been exhausted and every plan you made for yourself has run out of road, that calibrates the inner ear. The voice that speaks the truth of who you are becomes clearer. The direction that belongs to your deepest design becomes more specific. And you arrive at a Wednesday morning carrying an ability to hear and to know and to follow that was not available to you before the wilderness pressed it open. And in your season of loss, the relationships that ended, the versions of yourself you had to release, the dreams you had to surrender in the form they first appeared. In all of that, you were not being impoverished. You were being prepared. The old containers were not large enough for the weight of what is designated for the next chapter. What felt like loss was God clearing the ground. The soil of your life was being turned, not because it was barren, but because what is being planted in it now requires depth that flat ground cannot provide. The people who move away from you in this season, the connections that thin, the relationships that shift, that movement, is not evidence that you are becoming less. It is evidence that you are becoming more. The promised land is inhabited differently than the wilderness, and the God who is calling you forward is reorganizing the relational landscape of your life so that what you walk into is populated by people who match the frequency of who you are becoming. What the enemy frames as rejection, God frames as repositioning. Press like if what you are receiving right now is landing for you. And remain with me in what comes next, because what I am about to share is the part of this message that directly addresses something that was happening while all of your formation was underway. Something that explains a specific dimension of why this Wednesday is marked as the beginning of a new version of you. While the wilderness was doing its deep work in your spirit, while God was shaping endurance and discernment and space in you, something was also happening in a neuroscience laboratory in New York City. A small team of researchers, led by a doctor who had spent 20 years studying the architecture of the human brain, made a discovery. A discovery that has not received the attention it deserves, not because it is obscure, but because, if it were widely understood, you would no longer need many of the things the modern world profits from selling to you. What they discovered connects directly to something you have already lived, something about who you were as a child, and something about what shifted as you grew older. I will tell you exactly what they found in a few moments. But for now, hold this question. What if the reason your mind has not been operating at the fullness it was designed for, the clarity, the creative insight, the ease of thought that was entirely natural to you when you were young, what if that capacity faded not because of age, and not because of discipline, and not because of any flaw in your design, but because something real was taken from you? And what if it can be given back? Hold that question. The answer is part of what makes this Wednesday a beginning, and not just another day. There is a word in ancient Hebrew that deserves to be spoken on a morning like this one. The word is reshit. It appears in the very first sentence of all of Scripture, in the beginning, but that translation does not carry its full weight. Reshit does not simply mean the start of a sequence, it means the first fruits, the most significant portion, the one that is set apart and carries within it the quality and the promise of everything that will follow. When a farmer brought the reshiit of the harvest, he was not bringing the first of something ordinary. He was bringing the representative piece of everything the soil had been designed to produce. The beginning that contained the fullness. This is what God has written over this Wednesday for you. Not just a start, a reshiat, a first fruits morning. What begins today is not a trial run. It is the representative of what the rest of this season will look like when it fully unfolds. And the ancient Greek world had a word that belongs alongside that Hebrew one. The word is kairos. To understand what it means, you first have to understand what it is not. The Greek word for ordinary clock time is chronos. Chronos is the regular march of hours and days and weeks that does not differentiate between Wednesday and any other day. Kairos is different. Kairos is appointed time, the moment set apart before the chronos clock ever began moving. The moment for which all the chronos time was preparation. When the New Testament writers wanted to say that God acts in specific moments with specific purpose, they used kairos, not chronos. Your wilderness season was chronos, necessary time that served a purpose. But this Wednesday is kairos. This is the appointed moment. This is the window that was always in the design. You were not carried through all of that to arrive at another ordinary day. Here is something practical to carry with you through the rest of this Wednesday and into the days that follow. What you speak on this day matters, not in a superstitious way, in the way that identity declarations have always worked in the life of someone who is crossing into a new chapter. They do not create the new. They align the person to the new that is already created and waiting. Moses stood at the edge of the Jordan, and God gave him specific words to speak before the crossing was completed. Not wishful thinking, not performance, alignment. The spoken acknowledgement of what God has already decided. So, here is what I want to give you to speak on this Wednesday. I am the beginning that God wrote for this day. I am not the person who survived the last season. I am the person that season was building. I am not defined by what I lost. I am positioned by what was formed in the losing. I am not waiting anymore. I am walking. I am not behind. I am exactly where the God who designs chosen ones intended me to be on this specific morning. Speak those words today, not once as a recitation, as a declaration you choose to inhabit, because the version of you that this Wednesday exists to introduce is not the version that still narrates the old story. It is the version that has received a new one. This Wednesday, the invitation is to step with both feet, to make one decision that is not contingent on all the other variables aligning first. It is the decision to agree with what God has already said about you, to receive the identity He has been forming, rather than the one the wilderness years wrote on you. Every chosen one who stood at a threshold faced this exact choice. The difference between those who crossed and those who did not was never ability or worthiness. It was the willingness to step into what God had declared, even when the ground beneath the second foot had not yet hardened. Type "I see it" in the comments if something in this message has shifted something in you. If you arrived on this Wednesday carrying something you are ready to put down before the day is over, there is a specific blessing that comes with a reshiat morning, not a general blessing that applies to anyone born in a good season. A specific one tailored to the preparation you have undergone, calibrated to the formation that happened in the seasons you did not choose. The first dimension of what is being released in this season is clarity, the kind that arrives when the wilderness years have stripped away every competing narrative and the true direction becomes unmistakably visible. You have been in a season where many voices competed for your attention, and the noise made it difficult to know with certainty which way to move. That noise is ending. What is beginning is a season of unmistakable direction. The God who called you is specific. And on this side of the Reshite morning, his specific voice will carry further in you than it has in a long time. The second dimension is connection. The relationships that are coming, and some are coming very soon, are different in kind from what surrounded you in the wilderness. Not just more pleasant, generationally different. People who carry a frequency that matches who you are in the new chapter. People who understand, without lengthy explanation, what you are building and why it matters. People who were also in preparation and are now crossing at a similar threshold. The third dimension is provision. Doors opening in professional spaces that were sealed in the wilderness. Opportunities arriving in forms that could not have been predicted but are unmistakably right. Financial clarity in areas that were foggy, and the specific kind of insight, the sudden solution, the unexpected idea that belongs to someone whose mind is operating at what it was designed for, not diminished by years of striving, but restored to the full capacity it carried before the world began pressing it down. That third dimension is where I need to stay for a moment, because the restoration of the mind is not only spiritual, it is something specific and measurable. And what that doctor in New York discovered belongs directly here. Now, I need to bring you something that has been building since the beginning of this message, something that lives at the intersection of what was taken from you and what is available to you on this specific Wednesday morning. Because the restoration God is speaking over you is not only spiritual in the general sense. There is a dimension of it that is specific to how your mind was designed to function and how that function has been suppressed by decades of a world that did not understand what it was doing. What Dr. Daniel Barone and his team discovered was not a method. It was a mechanism, one that already exists inside you, that was dimmed by the world before you were old enough to protect it. Not willpower, not another system. A mechanism. Dr. Roger Sperry, in 1981, won the Nobel Prize in Science for a discovery that most people have never been taught in church or school. He proved that the human brain has two hemispheres, left and right, and that when those two hemispheres are working in full synchronization, something extraordinary happens. The whole brain activates, not partially, fully. The way it activated when you were a child and learning happened effortlessly, and creative thinking felt natural, and solutions arrived as though the answer had always been obvious. Every child is born with this. 98% of children test at creative genius level when they are young. Not because some children are gifted and others are not, but because the whole brain is synchronized from birth. Then the world intervenes. The school system, the stress of performance culture, the chronic pace of modern life begin a slow process of disconnecting those two hemispheres from each other. And by adulthood, less than 1 in 1,000 people still carry the level of whole brain activation they were born with. The rest are operating on what amounts to half the instrument they were given, not because of age, because of suppression. Steve Jobs, designing the iPhone in a state his colleagues described as effortless brilliance. Tesla, solving problems in his mind in a kind of flow that defied conventional explanation. Taylor Swift, performing for 80,000 people with a presence that is not rehearsed, but channeled. All of these are documented examples of whole brain activation. The state where both hemispheres are working in full synchronization. Dr. Barone and his colleagues call it the genius switch, because when it is active, the quality of thought and insight and creativity that it produces looks, from the outside, like genius. The wilderness did not take your mind from you, it tested it, but the world around you, beginning from childhood, did begin a process of suppression that has nothing to do with your intelligence, your discipline, your faith, or your worth. What was taken from you was not earned by the one who took it, and what can be returned to you is not contingent on you doing enough to deserve its return. A woman raised in Manhattan who believed her entire family lived under a curse of bad luck, who watched her father give 22 years to a company that shut its doors the week after his promotion, tried every available practice and found nothing broke through. She used an 8-minute audio sequence daily for 2 weeks, an insight at work that solved a problem her team had carried for a year, a conversation that opened a marriage that had closed for a decade. Then the call from a company she had contacted and forgotten. She said it in one sentence: the family curse is gone. What she called a curse was the suppression of whole brain activation in a family that had carried it for generations. She was the first in her line to name it and step out of it. What she walked into was not given to her, it was restored. And that is what is available to you on this Reshiet Wednesday. Dr. Daniel Barone, a neurologist in New York City, spent 20 years in the laboratory turning what Dr. Sperry proved possible into something a person can access in 8 minutes a day. Not a complicated protocol, not an expensive machine. A targeted auditory sequence delivered through headphones that reintroduces the neural synchronization signal that the hemispheres recognize from childhood. His colleagues called it the genius switch. It is not a brainwave product. It is not a meditation app. It is not a $7,000 neurofeedback machine that requires a clinic visit. It is 8 minutes of targeted audio built on the Nobel Prize discoveries of Dr. Roger Sperry that you listen to once a day with headphones and closed eyes. The neural synchronization does the work. You simply receive it. If you have tried brainwave tracks before and found nothing changed, I want to address that directly, because it is the question of someone who is honest about their experience. What most of those approaches have in common is that they address brain waves only. And Dr. Barone is specific about this. Most scientists no longer study brain waves as the primary mechanism because brain waves are incomplete. They address one variable and leave the larger instrument untouched. What whole brain activation targets is not a brain wave, it is hemisphere synchronization. The re-establishment of the communication channel between two parts of a brain that were designed to work together and have been separated by the slow pressure of a world that rewards one hemisphere and neglects the other. That is a fundamentally different mechanism, and it is the reason that people who tried everything else and found nothing found something here. The sequence Dr. Barone built is available as a digital audio file. Neurofeedback clinics charge $300 an hour for a version of what this replicates. An in-home machine that does something adjacent is priced at $7,000. Dr. Barone chose to release the Genius Switch at $49, already over 40% below what colleagues told him it was worth. And because you have received this full message on this Wednesday morning, his team is extending an additional $10 off. Today, on the page where it is available, the price is $39, not a manipulation. A decision made specifically for the chosen ones who receive what they are being given at the threshold. When you access it at $39, you also receive 4 editions at no extra cost. A guided visualization from a top-rated creator designed to help you inhabit the 4 areas of life beginning to open in this new season. A grocery guide that identifies 10 common foods that actively contribute to brain fog and 5 simple substitutions. Many people report saving over $100 per month while improving mental clarity. A 0-year-old manifestation text, the root document from which nearly every modern abundance practice descended, included at no cost, and a printed infographic capturing the 5 habits of people who inhabit their full capacity formatted to be placed somewhere visible as a daily reminder of the identity you are inhabiting starting on this Wednesday. The complete investment of $39 is backed by an ironclad 100% money-back guarantee. Listen 8 minutes a day. Listen 80 times if you want. If, after honest use, the whole brain activation does not produce what the science describes, you receive every dollar back. No argument, no process. Because Dr. Barone is not offering something he is uncertain about. He is offering something he has spent 20 years building, and the guarantee is the posture of a researcher who knows what the science produces when it is given the chance. One thing I need to say clearly, because it matters enough to say once. If you search YouTube or Spotify for sequences with names like Genius Activation or Whole Brain Audio, you will find them. Dr. Barone and his team studied them. The vast majority of those tracks had no neural sync technology embedded in the audio at all. They were labeled with credible language for the purpose of attracting clicks and ad revenue. The actual targeted auditory sequence took years of clinical development to produce. The reason it is only available through Dr. Barone and his team directly is that reason. He explains it himself on the page where the sequence is available. The link to access the Genius Switch is in the description of this message and in the pinned comment. The direct access point to what Dr. Barone and his team built for the people who are ready to operate at the capacity they were designed for. If you feel called, if the question I asked you earlier about what was taken from you landed with any weight, the path forward is there. Now I want to return to the question of the threshold, because there is a dimension of what was formed in you that I have not yet named, and it belongs specifically to the chosen one who is crossing into a new chapter on a Wednesday morning. There is an obstacle that shows up, almost without exception, in the life of a chosen one at the threshold. From the outside, it looks like patience or wisdom, but from the inside, it is the quiet but powerful pull toward the identity that was formed in the hard season. The identity that knows how to survive, how to endure, how to hold on without expecting too much, how to manage disappointment by keeping expectations low. That identity served a real purpose. But if you carry it across the Jordan, it becomes a limitation, because the promised land does not require the survival posture. It requires the receiving posture. And those two are not the same thing. The survival identity says, do not be surprised if this does not work out. The receiving identity says, I am not surprised that it is working out. The survival identity says, wait until the evidence is complete before you commit to this being real. The receiving identity says, the evidence of the verdict is the posture I carry into what comes next. And then there is the pattern of doubt. Not the kind of doubt that leads to deeper faith, the kind that arrives specifically when something is about to break open. The doubt that says, who are you to receive something this significant? That doubt is not wisdom. It is the pattern that has historically arrived in the life of a chosen one at exactly the moment God is doing something. Because the opposition knows that a chosen one who believes is far more dangerous than a chosen one who doubts. What you do with that doubt on this Wednesday matters, not repression, not pretending the question is not there, but refusing to give it the final authority. Choosing instead to give the final authority to the verdict that was sealed before you woke up this morning. There are permissions that belong to you on this threshold morning, permissions that the wilderness years may have made you feel you needed to earn, but that were written into your design from before the wilderness began. You are allowed to outgrow the identity that was shaped by the hard season. You are allowed to outgrow the relationships that cannot hold the weight of who you are becoming. You are allowed to outgrow the version of yourself that knew how to survive but not yet how to fully receive. You are allowed to release the narratives that served you in the waiting, even the ones that felt like faith, if they were actually keeping you small. You are allowed to step into a level of provision, clarity, connection, and creative capacity that exceeds anything you experienced in the season behind you. And you do not owe anyone an apology for crossing into what God built for you. These are not small permissions. They are the instructions of a father who watched his chosen one hold on past the point where anyone else would have understood it, and who has looked at this Wednesday morning and said, "It is time." There is a word for who you are and who you are becoming that belongs at this threshold, not a title earned by achievement, a designation given by the one who designed you before you were born. You are the pioneer, the first-generation breakthrough carrier, the one who goes where no one in the family line has gone before, whose crossing makes a path available for everyone who comes after. The pioneer does not move forward because the road is established. The pioneer moves forward, and the road is established by the moving. What you cross into on this Wednesday does not only belong to you. It creates the possibility of crossing for those who carry your name and your blood in the generations ahead. You are also the light bearer, the one whose presence, even when they are not trying, carries something into rooms that was not there before they arrived. The light bearer does not require an audience to be what they are. They are it in the morning before anyone else is awake. They are it on ordinary Wednesdays when no one is watching. The light that comes through you is not a performance. It is a function of who you were designed to be. And you are the deliverer, not in the sense of the one who forces outcomes on behalf of others, in the sense of the one who creates freedom by example, whose willingness to cross the threshold on a Wednesday morning when it would have been easier to stay in the familiar becomes permission for someone watching them to believe their own crossing is possible. The deliverer delivers by the witness of a life that chose to step when stepping was uncertain and found the ground holding. This is who you are. This is who this Wednesday is introducing. And there is a witness to this I want to share with you, not as a product story, but as the testimony of a chosen one who stood at a threshold that looked nothing like a breakthrough. A while ago, a man spent years quietly watching opportunities he was fully qualified for go to people who seemed to carry something he could not locate in himself. He had the education, he had the experience, but in every room he entered, something that should have been there felt just out of reach, like a signal that had gone quiet. He described it as knowing the answer was in the room, but not being able to find the door. Then one day, something shifted in how he thought, not dramatically. The fog that he had accepted as his baseline began to lift. An idea in a meeting that he had been circling for months arrived complete and clear. A conversation he had been afraid to initiate opened and went further than he had imagined it could. He said later, "It is as if I have been operating with one hand tied and someone finally untied it." He proved himself in the quiet before he announced anything in the public. The capacity that returns is not a new one. It is the original one, reclaimed. What was available to him is available to you, not as a future event, as the present reality of a Reshi hit Wednesday. And now we come to the place where everything that was spoken here begins to seal itself, where the words that were offered and the truth that was unpacked and the identity that was named are gathered together and offered back to the one who wrote them for you. Father, we come to this Wednesday threshold with full acknowledgement of what the journey here required. We acknowledge the seasons that stretched beyond what seemed bearable, the prayers that went unanswered in the form we expected, the relationships that ended before we were ready, the versions of ourselves we had to release before the new ones were fully visible. We acknowledge all of it, not with grief, with gratitude, because every single piece of what was hard was part of the Reshiat morning you were building for us. We release today what has been held in the wilderness. We release the survival identity, the one that knows how to endure but has not yet learned to receive. We release the doubt patterns that arrived every time something real was about to open. We release the voice that asked, "Who are you to receive something this significant?" We release the comparisons, the timelines that were not ours, the external measurements we used to evaluate what you were doing in the unseen places of our formation. We release the weight of the waiting season. We set it down here, at this threshold, on this Wednesday. We do not need to carry it forward. It has done what it was designed to do. It produced us. We release. And in releasing, we receive. We receive the identity written for us before the wilderness began. We receive the clarity that comes with a mind restored to its full capacity. We receive the connections being assembled on the other side of this threshold. We receive the provision that was held in reserve for the Reshiite morning. We receive the designation given by the one who designed us: pioneer, light bearer, deliverer, chosen one at the threshold on the day it opens. And this is who you are. Say it if you can. I am not who the wilderness made me. I am who the wilderness revealed. I am not the sum of what I survived. I am the expression of what was formed in the surviving. I am the first fruits of a new season. I am the one who crosses. I am the beginning that God wrote for this Wednesday. I am the pioneer who makes a path by walking. I am the light that does not manufacture itself. I am the deliverer who delivers by example. I am the chosen one at the threshold on the day the door opens. I am not waiting anymore. I am walking, starting today, starting this Wednesday. This is who you will become by the time this Wednesday is over. Not fully, because becoming takes the rest of the season ahead of you, but in essence, in declaration. In the posture of the one who agreed with what the Father sealed before the sun came up this morning. That agreement is not small. That agreement is the first step across the Jordan and across the river. The ground is not the same as the desert. The God who writes Reshiite into specific Wednesdays has already prepared the land for the one who crosses. He has already arranged the connections. He has already written the provisions. And he has already made the path to restoring the capacity inside you available through the work Dr. Barone spent 20 years building for exactly this kind of person. The chosen one at the threshold, finally ready to operate at the fullness of what they were designed for. If you feel called, the door is where I told you it was. In the description and in the pinned comment, only if your spirit confirms it. And remember, what Dr. Barone built is not a trick. It is 8 minutes of audio that reconnects what the world quietly disconnected. If you ever knew, even for a moment, that you were chosen for more than what the last season produced, this is part of how you come back to the full version of what more looks like. Remain connected to this space if these words have been food for the season you are entering. There are messages being prepared for the next chapters of the Chosen One journey, for the weeks that follow a Reshit Wednesday, for the seasons of inhabiting what you crossed into, rather than just crossing. Stay where these messages can find you, and if someone came to mind while you were receiving this today, someone you know who is also standing at a threshold they have not yet named, someone who has been unusually quiet lately, someone who has been carrying more than they have been willing to say out loud, someone who woke up on this same Wednesday with the same weight and the same readiness and the same question that will not stop pressing. Share this with them. That share could be the thing that names for them what they have been unable to name for themselves. Your reach is part of your calling. The deliverer delivers. The light bearer carries the light to where the darkness is. May this Wednesday be sealed in your story as the morning the door opened. May what was formed in the wilderness be honored in the land you are crossing into. May every seed planted in the silence find its sky on this Reshiat morning. May the mind you were given at birth, the mind that was quietly covered over by decades of a world that did not know what it was doing, be restored to the fullness it was designed to carry. May the people coming toward you carry the frequency of the new chapter and recognize in you what they have been searching for. May your crossing be full. May your becoming be complete. And may the chosen one who began this Wednesday at the starting point end it knowing with certainty who they have become. It is sealed, it is done, and so it is.